So in this segment, we're going to be talking about almost £2 billion slashed from the Levelling Up Fund, funding in poor areas despite Boris Johnson's pledge. So the Tory manifesto promised to match development spending lost with Brexit. So that's EU money. The part is just 2.6 billion over 3 years, not 4.5 billion. Not to forget the fact that some of this money isn't even going to the poorer areas, which it would have gone to. They've gone to do, what was that, pork barrel politics, where it goes to certain constituencies to keep them sweet, to keep them voting Tory. So, good work from the Independent here. Annoyed the BBC hasn't covered this, but shocker. Almost £2 billion has been slashed from promised development spending in poorer areas of the UK, despite Boris Johnson's vow to level up the country. How are you going to level up the country when you ain't got the money? You got hit with a blue shell. I know I've been using that sound effect a lot, but it's so great for these videos. The government has pledged to match EU funding to tackle inequality and deprivation, which would have required at least £4.5 billion over the next 3 years. That's not going to happen. We know that to be true. It's not going to happen. They're not going to match it. They never intended to. These were just lies. Sunak's budget reveals just £2.6 billion have been allocated and reallocates the funds to improving functional numeracy skills to boost job prospects. Now, if I was you, Sunak, I wouldn't be offering too many functional classes on numeracy skills, because they might get some numeracy skills. Look at this article and realise you're lying to the people. So I'd be careful with that one, Sunak. The move would provoke fury in the red wall areas. I don't think it will. I don't think they're even going to notice or care. And in Scotland and Wales, I think those two will notice and care a bit more, which were big recipients of EU structural funds before Brexit cut off the flow. These red wall areas, they voted Brexit, they voted Tory, so they knew what they voted for. That's what they've told us. So are they going to can they be angry about this? Yes. Will they be angry? No. Because they'll probably blame the EU or foreigners or Polish people specifically or something. I don't know. The Conservative Party manifesto at the 2019 election promised to, at a minimum, match the lost funds in each nation of the UK, which they haven't done. We've just covered that Northern Ireland will lose out on tens of millions of pounds, and the £12 million that has been allocated to them won't cover the £100 million lost. So that's not really true, is it? Rebecca Evans, the Welsh government finance minister, protested at the clear gaps in funding where UK government should be investing in Wales. Arrangements for replacing EU structural funds remain unclear because the government haven't figured it out yet. But what we do know is it falls well short of the 375 million we're receiving. These are funds that support skills, businesses and decarbonisation. All great things. But the government are going to do pork barrel politics with this money. That's one thing I'm certain of. Alexander Rose, a public funding lawyer and secondee at the European Commission, tweeted that the announcement breaks the promise that the EU funds would be replaced. I mean, they're going to blame the pandemic, of course, but let's not forget the pandemic's also hit the EU, obviously, and the EU still would have allocated this money regardless. Furthermore, the new fund is heavily centralised with no guarantees the funding on offer will go to areas which most need it, because they're going to go to areas that vote Tory, not the impoverished areas. That's why certain ministers, their constituencies are receiving these sorts of funds, but other constituencies aren't. It's the truth. This guy creeps the hell out of me. The long-promised UK Shared Prosperity Fund was already mired in controversy after being delayed until next year, already costing poorer regions around £1.5 billion. So if we assume that that £1.5 billion wasn't sent out by the government, they're cutting the funds by more than 2.6 billion then at that point. The government promised to match the pre-Brexit grants to build local economies by attracting businesses and jobs, and said they would flow from next April, but the spending review document for the 3 years from 2022 until 2025 states it will be worth over 2.6 billion in that period, which is less than the money we would have gotten from the EU. I'll get to this at some point as well. The UK's Brexit loss is more than 178 times bigger than trade gains. Whoops, don't want to hit that one. This is the one I wanted. Yes. But so you can see here that the government never planned on it. Not really. Despite the fact that this will be massively beneficial for the UK. investing money into poorer regions will massively help these areas. But the government don't understand that. When it comes to government spending, they don't understand what's it called? Speculate to accumulate. When it comes to public money, it's, oh no, we have to make cuts everywhere. When it comes to a former banker who's the executive, who's the chancellor of the exchequer, how does he not understand this with public money? When he worked in banking, he obviously understood speculate to accumulate. When he works in for the public, he's like, nah, austerity. So it says funding will only rise to 1.5 billion a year by 2024-25. It says the pot must... See, this is where I think there's a typo in this article, which is ironic for me pointing it out. It says the pot must now pay for a new UK-wide programme to equip hundreds and thousands of adults with functional numeracy skills. It could say the pot must not pay for a new UK-wide programme, but I'm assuming they were meant to put the pot must now pay, which would make more sense. So not only are these areas going to get less money, but that money's been earmarked to go to help with further education. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not going to help deal with the financial losses these areas have incurred, should we say. But Sunak did not mention the disguised cut in his budget speech. Shocker. He said, for far too long, the location of your birth has determined too much of your future. The Chancellor announcing a separate £1.7 billion for better infrastructure in more than 100 areas. And, it's going to carry on because the government, willfully or neglectfully don't understand how economics works. Take your pick. Is it ignorance or arrogance? I don't know. But they don't understand speculate to accumulate or anything like that when it comes to public financing. And it will carry on that the place you're born will keep determining your future. To chase better jobs, you will have to come to the south, because this is where the better jobs are at. Economic experts have also warned that ministers are ignoring the areas for greatest need in the allocation of the limited funds available, which is the key thing here, the areas that need it most, that need economic funding. The areas that have lost their main manufacturing hub in Swindon. They could use a lot of this money. Are they going to get it? Probably not. People who are on £20 an hour, who are on half of that now, potentially. A massive problem for the local economies. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Slick hair Sunak misleads the country again, really. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.